Thomas and friends, making tracks to great destinations. The island of Sodor is surrounded by beautiful blue sea. It has fields of green and sandy yellow beaches. There are rivers, streams, and lots of trees where the birds sing. There are windmills and a coal mine, and docks where visitors to the island arrive. The island also has lots and lots of railway lines. Who's that puffing down the track? It's Thomas! Hello, Thomas! Hello, everybody! Welcome to the island of Sodor! Edward's new job. It was a lovely day on the island of Sodor. Edward was heading to Brendam docks with a goods train delivery. Ever since he gave up the Brendam Branchline, Edward rarely even heads to the docks. He was excited to see everyone who was working there. He was hoping to pass by before the midday train ran so he could whistle past everyone. Edward arrived at the docks in really good time. He was happy to see everyone working. The workmen gave Edward small waves before getting back to work. He was happy to see everyone was happily working still on the docks. Edward was waiting for some of his trucks to be unloaded. I can't believe I am back here again. I am right on time too. I might even beat Stanley, Edward said cheerfully. Edward began puffing towards Brendam Station. He wanted to say hi to everyone. Then, Edward stopped far away from the station. What's the matter, Edward? Asked Toad curiously. Edward saw Stanley at the station. He had shiny, brand new coaches. Come along, everyone. We are right on time perfectly today. Let us continue this amazing day, Stanley said cheerfully. Everyone looks happier without me, Edward said sadly. He puffed backwards so nobody would see him. Then there was trouble. Edward didn't realize he started going faster. He crashed into the buffers! Edward's tender had come off the tracks. Cinders and ashes! Yelled Edward. You okay, Toad? I'm okay. What about you? Toad asked. My tender is off the tracks, but other than that, I am okay, Edward said sheepily. Edward was now cross. Not at Stanley, but at himself for letting his jealousy get the better of him. Edward was moved to another track. Salty came to finish the train for Edward. Rocky be coming to get ya, matey, Salty stated, and he drove away with the train. Edward was being hard on himself. If only I didn't get jealous. Later that day, Edward was resting in the sheds. He was still upset at himself. Stanley pulled into the sheds. I heard what happened, Edward. Are you okay? Normally, you don't get distracted that easily, Stanley asked curiously. Edward was embarrassed. I saw you picking up your passengers. I saw how happy they were to see you. Stanley sat there and listened. I miss it, Stanley. I wish I worked that one final train. Stanley had an idea fly into his funnel. Why don't you take my train tomorrow? Maybe it will finally give you closure, Stanley said cheerfully. Are you sure? Edward asked curiously. Yes, I will take your goods train tomorrow, and you can run the Branchline. Edward was excited. Thank you, Stanley. I really appreciate it. The next morning, Sir Topham Hatt was waiting at Knapford for Stanley to pick up his passengers. He was surprised to see Edward puff into the station with the coaches. Edward, what are you doing here? Don't you have a goods train to take? He boomed curiously. I'm sorry, sir. Me and Stanley forgot to tell you. I'm running the Branchline today because I never got the closure after giving up my line to him, Edward stated, hoping he wouldn't be mad. Sir Topham Hatt wasn't mad at all. In fact, he was pleased. I'm sorry you never got your closure, Edward. I hope I didn't force you to do anything you didn't want to, he stated with a hint of regret. Sir, you didn't force anything on me. I knew Stanley would have to run the goods train if he didn't get the Branchline. I just can't keep up the same pace anymore to do the Branchline every day, Edward stated somberly. Sir Topham Hatt was proud of Edward. No matter what job you do, Edward, I will always be proud of you, Sir Topham Hatt stated cheerfully. So what are you waiting for? This Branchline needs to run on time. Edward laughed. He puffed away to run the Branchline one final time. Edward took in the sights. He puffed along the Branchline and was enjoying every second of it. The passengers were pleased. They knew this would be the final time Edward would be doing this. They knew how special this ride was. Edward finally puffed into the last stop at Brendam Station. Everyone cheered. Thank you, Edward! They all said together. Edward puffed away back to the sheds, ending his final trip on his Branchline.